IELTS writing is more about skill sets than knowledge. It's not what you write in the essay, it's about how you write it. And if you're looking for that one single sample essay video that will change your life, that will boost your score from here to here, you're in the right video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aniket and I'm back with another fresh informative video. Before you skip this part, let me just tell you that this video is not just about a sample essay video. This video will also cover every other ornament, every other factor that you need to know to boost your score in your IELTS Writing Task 2. And definitely by ornaments, I mean Introduction to Task 2, which will cover the basic guidelines, basic rules that you should be keeping in mind. Also, I'll be talking about the exact marking criteria that you should be focusing on to boost your score. Third, we'll be talking about the exact structure of the essay. Fourth, we'll be discussing each structure, each part of the structure with a sample passage, sample essay जो मैंने prepare किया है, and it will definitely help you a lot to understand how a band 9 essay is written. Also, एकदम video के end में I'll be giving you a secret tip which will definitely boost your score to 8 or 8.5. अगर आपको 6 मिल रहा है then आपको 7 मिलेगा. अगर 7 मिल रहा था अभी 8, 8.5 तक मिल सकता है if you know the secret tip. तो वीडियो को पूरा देखना. अगर चैनल पे नए हो तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना because 100K is our goal. We have to hit it. And video को पहले like कर दो because a lot of crucial information is coming on your way and definitely it motivates me as well. So without any further bullshit, let's jump into the video. Coming to our first part, which is Introduction to Task 2. Write no more than 300 words. If you don't know, IELTS Task 2 has a limit of 250 words, but if you write exactly 250, you won't be getting any band higher than 6 or 6.5. So what's the solution? You always have to write between 270 to 290 words, and if you have a problem to elaborating things without need, अगर आप ज़्यादा elaborate कर दे तो लिखते समय control नहीं रहता, then make sure you do not cross the upper boundary of 300 words, else you'll be receiving a penalty and that will definitely reduce your band score. 66% weightage is in task 2. Make sure you know this division that 66% weightage is for task 2 and 34% is for task 1. This should be kept in mind while you approach the examination, approach the writing sections, because both sections has different weightage, hence they have to be treated differently. Always focus more on task 2 and try to write it perfectly, because if your task 1 is weak, if you do not complete it properly, then make sure your task 2 is perfect, because it alone can boost your band score. Also, I'll be recommending to spend 40 minutes for task 2 and 20 minutes for task 1 because task 2, as I say, it has more weightage. Coming to the third point, which is conclusion or overview. In writing task 1, you have to write an overview, and for task 2, which is the essay, you have to write a conclusion. And don't write both in task 2 to be safe sided, because बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट को ऐसा ख्याल आता है एग्जाम के टाइम पे कि दोनों लिख देता हूँ बैंड अच्छा आएगा, but it works in reverse where your band score will get hampered if you write both the things. So make sure you write just the overview for task 1 and just the conclusion for task 2, because it's, as I said before, it's how you write, not what you write. And finally, the last thing to keep in mind is that IELTS writing is more of an English test and less of a knowledge test. The topics will be very generic in the question, and even if you find that you know very less about the topic mentioned in the question, do not worry, because if you know the factors जो मैं अभी discuss करने वाला हूँ in the next slide, then your band score won't go low. You will be still getting 7 or 8 or 8.5 bands. Alright, now let's quickly discuss about the scoring factors for IELTS Writing Task 2. First is task response. In task 1, you are graded based on your task achievement. That is, if you just write it, then you'll be getting your grades, getting your band score. But in task 2, just writing isn't enough. You're graded based on how well you respond to the question, how in sync your information is. Don't worry, when you'll be talking about the sample passage, you'll be getting exactly what I mean by task response. पूरा समझ में आ जाएगा. Alright, the next factor is cohesion and coherence. It means how relevant the information is that you provide in the essay and how well you address the problem mentioned in the question. If the question is about healthy foods and you write about junk foods, then the factor of cohesion and coherence is hampered, because the information that you're providing in body paragraphs, or let's say in the introductory paragraph, is irrelevant, is out of the box. To boost this part, always try to put relatable examples whenever possible in the body paragraphs, because that will make sure you are very properly maintaining the factors of cohesion and coherence. Let's discuss about the third and fourth factor collectively. It's grammar and vocab. IELTS Writing Task 2 में grammar का एक बहुत important role रहता है. If you know how to exactly use the grammars, adjectives, adverbs, tenses, then your band score will be high. And अगर grammar के बारे में dedicated video चाहिए तो comment down below. I'll make sure I make one very quickly for you guys. And also vocabulary के बारे में भी ज़्यादा discuss करने का कुछ नहीं. I've already made tons of vocabulary videos for IELTS Writing Task 1, Task 2, also speaking section के लिए. So make sure you watch them all, links are in the description box. Finally, coming to the short and sweet outline for IELTS Writing Task 2. First is introduction. In the introduction paragraph, you have to present the problem. Also, you have to introduce the causes and solutions. And finally, you have to give your opinion, or let's say give a brief reaction about what you're going to talk about in the body paragraphs. Next is body paragraph 1, which is also known as the first argument. In that part, you have to discuss the main cause of the problem that is given in the solution, or let's say you have to discuss one of the main argument and clarify it properly with proper examples, vocab, and with no grammatical errors. Similarly, in the body paragraph 2, you have to discuss the solution to the problem mentioned in the question, or you have to discuss the second argument or second perspective and clarify it with proper examples. And finally comes the concluding paragraph, which is again super important. Usko hamesha likhna even if you have very less time. Give your opinion in the concluding paragraph, summarize the key points from body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2, and also provide a recommendation at the end. Don't worry, पूरा जो चीज़ मैंने अभी डिस्कस किया है उसको सैम्पल पैसेज के समय अच्छे से समझ लेंगे. Make sure you just note this exact pattern of the essay. Alright, this is a sample question and इसका sample essay मैंने पूरा prepare करके रखा है. After reading the question, we'll be moving on to the sample passage. Prison is the common way in most countries to try to solve the problem of crime. However, a more effective solution is to provide people with a better education. Do you agree or disagree? This is an agree-disagree type of essay, of which we have completely made a sample essay for band 9. Let's move to it. Let's start with reading the introduction first. Whilst in most countries, the dominant view is that prison is an effective tool for crime prevention, it has long been argued that providing people with quality education is a more sustainable approach for tackling this issue. I would argue that in the long run, prison may not prove a viable solution for this purpose, although owing to the unpleasant prospect that prison portrays for potential criminals, it could potentially diminish crime rate. It does not necessarily eradicate the original impetus that prompts people to commit a crime. As I said before, IELTS writing is all about how you write, and that makes it very important to describe the issues mentioned in the question with very precise to the point arguments, and also use proper vocabulary to back those arguments. And another thing that should be kept in mind is that make very minimal grammatical errors, or better, make no grammatical errors at all, because that will affect your band score to a very high extent. Also, it doesn't matter if you're writing positive things or negative things in your essay, or what perspectives you're choosing or advocating in the essay. Everything that matters is how well you write it, how well you describe the issue, no matter if you're writing positive or negative things. And that is why I have used the phrase, I would argue that. Another thing to keep in mind is that never ever duplicate the question as it is in the introductory paragraph. Always try to paraphrase it and use synonyms of words. For an example, look at the introductory paragraph. Instead of better education, I have used quality of education. I am not marking the words in the screen because I am here to boost your overall skill sets, improve your observation power. अच्छे से खोजो words कहाँ पे मैं mention कर रहा हूँ, because that will help you in skimming and scanning the passage in your reading module. So instead of better education, I have used quality of education. Instead of solving the problem, I have used tackling this issue. And finally, I have also used connectors in the essay. Example, whilst and although. Whilst ekdam shuru mein, first word is whilst, and although it's your duty to find it from the passage. A very important thing that you should be knowing is that complex sentences matters a lot in your IELTS writing task 2. So if you want to score really high bands in your IELTS writing task 2, you have to master complex sentences, and you should be able to use them frequent times in your essays. So अगर complex sentence के बारे में एकदम depth में जानना है, how to think of complex sentences, how to make them, how to write them, कहाँ पे लिखना है, what is the exact format, पूरा डेप्थ जानने के लिए आई मेड अ डेडिकेटेड वीडियो अबाउट कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंसेस. स्क्रीन में थंबनेल है, आई बटन में लिंक है, डिस्क्रिप्शन में लिंक है. मेक श्योर यू वॉच दिस वीडियो एंटायरली आफ्टर दिस वीडियो. ये वीडियो कंप्लीट होने दो, फिर कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंसेस का वीडियो देख लेना टू क्लैरिफाई योर कॉन्सेप्ट्स इवन मोर. अभी के लिए लेट्स फोकस ऑन हाउ वी हैव यूज्ड कॉम्प्लेक्स सेंटेंसेस इन आवर इंट्रोडक्टरी पैराग्राफ ऑफ आवर सैम्पल essay. This is the complex statement that we have used in our introductory paragraph. It is divided into 3 parts. That is, although owing to the unpleasant prospect that prison portrays for potential criminals is the first part. Second is, it could potentially diminish crime rate, and the third part is, it does not necessarily eradicate the original impetus that prompts people to commit a crime. This is a third degree complex statement. Alright, this statement is a third degree complex statement because of 2 reasons. Number 1, because it has 3 parts, and also the factor of relative clause plays in it. ठीक है, relative clause use हुआ है, इसलिए third degree complex statement इसको बताया जाता है. And if used properly 3 or 4 times in your essay, it can definitely pave your way to 9 bands in your IELTS writing task 2. It's so powerful. And also the second point is we have used commas in proper places to make it even more complex and even more formal for IELTS writing task 2. Alright, now it's the time that we move to our body paragraph number 1 of a sample essay, and make sure you know this, each body paragraph should contain one single clear argument or perspective or your opinion about the issue mentioned in the problem. बस एक argument होना चाहिए एकदम clearly defined, relevant to the question. Body paragraph 1 में एक argument, body paragraph 2 में एक argument, and then we'll be concluding the essay. पूरा discuss करूँगा. Make sure you watch this video till the end. Alright, let's start with reading the body paragraph. For one thing, prison as a governmental apparatus has been around for centuries now, but a cursory glance at the history of prison and of punishment in general reveals that it has not been as effective as it is often assumed to be. Unless they're psychologically insane, likely criminals are typically aware of the dire consequences of the crime that they're contemplating, yet the prospect of prison or even harsher types of punishment, example capital punishment, does not preclude them from committing crime. In addition, numerous governmental and scientific reports have demonstrated that prisoners could be initiated into new criminal activities and leave the prison with even more potential and inclination for committing further crimes. Now, I have started this body paragraph with for one thing. इसका मतलब क्या है? I am going to describe one single idea clearly in this body paragraph 1. One single perspective, one single argument जो मैं clearly describe करने वाला हूँ. Also, I have supported that argument with proper band 9 vocabulary. Example, खुद spot करना passage में, I won't be marking those words for you because as I said, observation skills को improve करो. Cursory glance is a good vocab. Dire consequences, contemplating, yet एक linking word again, precluded them from, in addition to, could be initiated into, inclination, and also have provided examples whenever possible to improve the criteria of cohesion and coherence. Also, let me just remind you that this body paragraph solely tells about the idea why prison is not a good idea. बस इसी line को describe करता है. Just one argument, and I've clarified it with proper vocab and examples. Also, let me just remind you, if you want a proper range of vocabulary to use in your IELTS writing task 1 and task 2, you're free to check my IELTS series जहाँ पे मैंने IELTS writing task 1 and task 2 के ऊपर proper videos बना के रखा है. All the links are mentioned in the description box. Go check them out. Now, let's move to the body paragraph number 2, where we'll be talking about a different argument than the first one and describe this particular argument clearly with proper vocabs and examples. However, quality education is a strategic tool that governments can deploy to ensure that young people grow up with the mindset that it is only through righteousness and decent behavior that they can flourish in the society. This approach will have both short-term and long-term benefits for individuals and the society at large, but cultivating such a mentality is not at all something that could be done in prison under duress. Now, in the beginning of this paragraph, I have used the word however, which shows a link between body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. It shows a continuation. These are known as connectors or linking words. इसके बारे में ज़्यादा जानना है. As I said before, watch my IELTS vocabulary videos. You'll be knowing every kind of word that is to be used in IELTS essay to boost your score. Also, I have used different vocabularies here. Band 9 vocabulary. Example, deploy, righteousness, cultivating, flourish, decent. It's your job to spot it from the passage. Another very important thing that for sure you have missed is the semicolon. Not many students use semicolon, right, in IELTS writing task 2 essay, but it plays a huge role. Always try to put semicolons, not too much, but you can use 2 to 3 times in your entire essay to connect two complete sentences. दो complete sentences के बीच में एक ज़्यादा deep pause देने के लिए semicolon का use करो, because it's a punctuation that will definitely impact your band score, and the advantage is rarely students use it. But make sure you know this rule. Do not attach two incomplete sentences with a semicolon. Always try to attach two complete sentences with a semicolon in between them. That's it. Moving on to the concluding paragraph. To sum up, facilitating access to quality education for everyone across the society can reduce crime rate as it enables people to reflect critically on their behavior and on the repercussions of criminal activities for the society. It also puts them in a position to see how righteous behavior can nurture prosperity for themselves and for other people in the society. In this paragraph, I've started it with to sum up, which is a vocabulary to conclude paragraphs very formally in the IELTS pattern. You can use to summarize, to recapitulate, or simply to conclude, but never ever use in a nutshell. It's a very common mistake most of the students use in a nutshell because it sounds attractive, but mind you, it's very informal for IELTS writing task 2 and it will definitely affect your bands. So never ever use in a nutshell. Again, make sure in this para You summarize all the main arguments from body paragraph 1 to body paragraph 2 and also provide a personal opinion at the end saying what you think about the entire situation or the entire problem mentioned in the question in the first place. And finally, if you can see, I have also backed every statement with proper vocabs, band 8 or band 9 vocabulary. Example, facilitating, critically, repercussions, righteous, prosperity. And that's it. You have to back every statement with proper words and make sure you make minimal grammatical errors to boost your overall score. That's it for the concluding paragraph. That's all about this video, guys. I've explained the entire IELTS writing sample passage for task 2 in a very detailed way. I've explained every single thing from introduction to concluding paragraph, and make sure you know how it's written, you practice well, and then nail it in your examination. अगर वीडियो पसंद आए तो वीडियो को लाइक करके जाना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करके ही जाओ, बिकॉज 100 के गोल वी हैव टू हिट इट. Until then मिलते हैं एक और नई वीडियो के साथ. Stay awesome, stay sexy. सनी शाह signing off for the day. क्या लगा सीक्रेट टिप के बारे में भूल गया हूँ? Definitely not. The secret tip is that if you can generate or if you can master techniques to generate more ideas than other students for IELTS writing task 2, then you'll be having a super good edge over the competition, because most students struggle in describing or elaborating a particular idea. So to know how to generate unlimited ideas for IELTS writing task 2, I've made a dedicated video जो स्क्रीन में दिख रहा है, उस थंबनेल पे क्लिक करके पूरा देख लो and then thank me in the comments. Ta-da!